I live in New York City, one of the biggest cities in the world. But even in a city like New York, it's very easy to develop a bubble, go about your day, and not talk to new people. I make it a point in my life to interact with somebody new. Whether I am just giving them a compliment, asking them a question, even if it's a little bit irrelevant, just to interact and talk to new people because you never know what this person may bring to your life. For example, the other day, right before we got this big snowstorm here in New York, I was walking home from the gym and there was a UPS driver pushing an order of boxes. And what I did was I look over to him and I simply ask, what do you think is harder, pushing this amount of packages in the winter and when it's freezing cold, or in the summer when it's really hot? And then we had a 1-minute conversation just about pushing packages in the middle of summer versus in the middle of winter. More likely than not, I probably won't even run into this UPS driver ever again in my life. But at the same time, the world is weird. You may be in a different country doing this and some random place, and all of a sudden you stumble upon somebody that you need help with. Maybe you need directions. Maybe your car broke down. Maybe your phone's dead. And you look to somebody and go, oh, do you mind helping me? And miraculously, maybe it's the person that you randomly talk to one day. Of course, that's a very circumstantial and very random occurrence that may happen. But my point being, you never know the value that somebody may bring to your life, whether it is an emotional sense or a physical sense. And also, they don't have to bring any value. There is value just in the conversation of interacting with this person. But in a city and the culture in New York, it's very easy to just pass by millions of people and never speak a word to them. Everybody has their own life story, and it's hard to remember that at times. And so many people have so much interesting knowledge to share that more likely than not, you will never be able to listen to or hear from them. Because mutually, if neither person engages with the other, you just simply pass by each other. A little story. When I first moved here to the city, I really just wanted to feel like I felt in. I really wanted to feel like I fit in. And so I did what I thought people did here. I went about my day, minding my own business, and just stayed in my bubble. And it made me super unhappy doing that. I really love when I'm standing at a stoplight, something funny happens, and I look to the person next to me and say like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Those small interactions enrich my life because most people do want to interact and talk. Of course, some days I'm in my own world. I just want to do my own thing. But most of the time, I'm pretty open to if somebody were to interact with me, I'm there. I want to talk because you never know what somebody may bring to your life, or what lifelong friendship you may even develop from this random interaction. There's probably many instances in your life where you're at your job, at school, and this is on an easier level. You pass by people you know every day. You recognize them. You've never spoke to them. At the gym, maybe your coffee shop, places that you frequent, you see people that you recognize, but you've never spoke to them. A, if you see these people on a reoccurring basis, you already have something in common. It's very easy to approach this person. And B, most likely, if you've been doing this thing and recognize this person enough, they mutually recognize you. There are so many people from my local gym back in my hometown that I never have even spoke to, and I've been going there since I was 13. But when I moved here to the city, I made a point to myself to not let that be the case. When I started recognizing people on a reoccurring basis at the gym, I made a point to go up to them. And I've developed relationships and friendships with these people because I approached them. A lot of people, including myself, want life to happen to them, but more often than not, that's not how it goes. You have to make life happen. You have to be the one to awkwardly approach this person because more likely than not, they're not going to do it. Now, I wasn't always the type of person to randomly talk to somebody. I became that person. It felt uncomfortable and it felt out of character for me. But the more you do something, the more it becomes who you are. And I feel like it's something that holds people back because when you view yourself as not somebody that approaches random people, you're not somebody that goes to the gym, you're not somebody that feels lucky in your life. When you have a perception of these things, it is your reality. You don't become a person that approaches people. You don't become a person that goes to the gym. You don't become a lucky person. People you're close with may sometimes feel uncomfortable when you start acting a different way because they feel like you're acting somebody you're not. But what is the difference between acting like somebody you're not and acting like the person you want to become? I feel like that's a video I could make on its own, but there is nothing wrong with trying to better yourself. In my opinion, there is absolutely not a singular bad thing that can come from making yourself uncomfortable. Feeling or being embarrassed is not a bad thing. It may feel negative, but it's not a bad thing. Maybe you feel like, well, if all of these things didn't happen in my life to go this way, I would be a person that approaches somebody. Or whatever your reasoning is, that is completely fine. Up until this point in your life, maybe you have never been, or maybe you are a person that approaches somebody. But here's where I challenge you. What is stopping you from today going out and just approaching somebody? Because maybe it feels out of character, maybe it feels very uncomfortable. But if you approach somebody in a small way, people have no idea whether this is your first time ever doing it, or if this is the 10,000th person that you've ever approached in your life. Sometimes I'll have no reason to talk to somebody. I'll be at the grocery store buying something that I always buy, and somebody will be next to me looking at a similar item. I'll be like, I'm just buying this for the first time. What do you think about this? Maybe that seems weird, and maybe it is weird, but it's a reason to talk to people. You don't have to always have an original idea. So no matter what type of person you see yourself as somebody who does approach people or somebody that doesn't, I challenge you to make it a goal to approach one random person. Because sometimes I approach people and I can tell that they were looking to talk to somebody, but just they didn't have the courage or they felt comfortable enough to approach somebody themselves. And you end up meeting really cool people. Sometimes you walk away thinking, oh, that was a little bit awkward. And that's okay. It's a growth opportunity. Every interaction is a growth opportunity for you to be able to better interact when it matters. There's so many different ways that you can look at approaching people. And maybe you have a small thought in the back of your head of a way to approach somebody. And I challenge you to do it. Even if you don't have an interest, there is nothing bad that can come from making yourself uncomfortable. It doesn't just have to be about approaching people. Getting uncomfortable is the goal. And one of the ways that I like to do it is approaching people, because now it does feel comfortable. Like I said, I really want to get back to posting more content. I'm gonna make the effort. So I challenge you, make an effort in your life and do something that you know you should, that you want to, that you just put off. Getting super sunny. I appreciate you listening. Keep it pushing. I'll see you next time.